It is bigger. I feel the ground move under my feet. People look around like, what could it be? They point to the towers.
Welcome to the Thought Brothers. The Knicks play off in an hour, so we're going to keep it tight. And so, speaking of the Knicks, I want to start off. We got Stan, the man Harrison, with us. I believe the rumor has it that Colonel Garvin is having a New York Knicks watch party. That's what I've been hearing. So we'll see what's going on there. But we've got Carlos, the researcher, and CJ with us. I want to kick it off. I want to talk a little bit about, did Donald Trump go into the game? Did he jinx the team? No, and then he's talking, he and Stephen A got some stuff going on. There's two fat knuckleheads arguing. Let me just see what's going on. Mr. Researcher, then I'm going to go to CJ. Did the Trump jinx the team, and what's going on between Stephen A and 47?
Well, the only thing I'll say is, I don't believe in those type of superstitions. I've never been one to believe in bad luck, good luck. I believe you make your own luck. But I think what he did was he kind of killed the morale because, people were used to having like watch parties right outside the stadium. And when he decides to come, then everything changes. You can't have watch parties, certain things you can't bring into the stadium. The thing that's troubling is, why would you want to go somewhere that you are not wanted? That is the thing that really bothers me. And it's just a thing where he's trying to show that he has the power, he has the authority. But as far as him bringing them bad luck, I don't think he brought him bad luck. But I really wish he was. If that is the case, I wish he was attending tonight so he could bring him some more bad luck.
Okay. Let me roll to CJ.
He absolutely ruined the vibes, as you said. The Knicks had, a lot of positivity and community around their energy of their playoff run, and that was ruined by not just Trump but Dolan. You got to put the blame of this to Dolan, because Dolan is the one who invited Trump. He's the one who's been defending Trump, and he's made this drama even worse. Dolan has canceled the watch parties for tonight.
That's what I heard.
He's beefing with Zoran Mamdani right now, trying to say that Zoran is in fact not a true Knicks fan, not Trump, who was falling asleep at the Knicks game and inconvenienced the entire city to go to the Knicks game. He's saying that Zoran, the person who paid out of pocket to be in the nosebleed section and hang out with the fans, is not a true Knicks fan. And Zoran already debunked that, saying he approved the permit for the watch parties, but Dolan has now canceled them out of spite because he wants to make it seem like it wasn't Trump who disrupted the game. He's now trying to say it's Zoran's fault for all the disruptions at game 3, even though that is obviously because of Donald Trump. And then to the Stephen A. Smith side of it, yes, it is two idiots, basically going at each other, because Stephen A. finally today, after being personally insulted, finally came out strong against Trump. He finally hit him on, all the things that Trump has been doing, terrible for the economy, starting wars, being it. But all of that has been true this whole time, while Stephen A. has been tepidly dancing around attacking Trump. He didn't actually care about it till Trump personally attacked him. So now he cares about the issues. Now he cares about Trump being a bad president and all this. So it really rings hollow, as, all those things have been true. But Stephen A. Smith didn't care until he was personally slighted by Trump. Now he cares about all these issues. And it is also, just again, to highlight how ridiculous it is to have an active president during a war falling asleep during the Knicks game.
Okay.
Gary, one point I want to make, CJ brought up, I don't know if you all saw the interview before he got on the plane to depart coming back to DC. And he did his normal thing he does with African American people. He called Stephen A. low IQ. And I couldn't believe that he called somebody who has been kissing his butt and supporting him low IQ. But that just gives you an idea of what he thinks about people who are not white.
Yeah, he only uses that insult for non-white people. That's one he reserves for people who are not white.
Yeah, how many people take a cognitive test 5 times in a year to prove what? He can point out a giraffe? I don't know. Carlos, and then Stan.
Bottom line, Trump killed the morale. Like you said, those watch parties and the environment outside the stadium, just like Mr. Spivey said, it's true. And yeah, Trump, and Stephen A, both idiots. Sometimes the best way to deal with an idiot is just not to say anything to them or about them and let them self-destruct themselves. Go Knicks. Stan, what you got?
Man, I agree with you, brother. It was impressive watching the Knicks the first two games and to see that energy just be divided and just destroyed. The Knicks fans were behind the team 100%. The whole Northeast was just there. The vibe was there. The energy was there. And I'll be honest, as a former basketball player, you can see how the team responded. I mean, in the first quarter, you can see, I think the Spurs were up by 12 to 15 points in the first quarter. The Knicks did come back in the second, but you can tell the struggle was there because that energy and that lift, and I think it's a spiritual lift that as an athlete, you kind of feel it. You feel the audience when you hit a shot and you move forward. And when you don't have that, when you don't have that camaraderie, when you don't have that push, it definitely deflates. And I think at Madison Square Garden was truly deflated as a result.
Any follow-up comments before I roll on to my next topic? All right. You all look pretty healthy. Any of you suffering from black fatigue, black exhaustion on social media? Some of the stuff I see. I saw two ladies who now have criminal records in jail over $1 difference for a pizza. You know, the pizza was $11.99 and they got charged tax. They refused. The Carnival Cruise Lines. Mr. Spivey, come on, man. You're our elder statesman. Is common sense that common? What's going on?
You know, I once had a man who I worked for told me he did not like to use the word common sense because they mean that it meant that that's a sense that's common to everybody, and everybody does not have common sense. I saw that video. It was ridiculous. The problem that I saw in that video was this lady paid $12 for a pizza, and it was $1 tax on the pizza. You tell me immediately that you are low IQ when you don't realize that you got to pay tax on anything you buy. But the sad part about it was that you end up going to jail. You ended up getting a criminal record. Down the road, you don't know what your future may hold. But if you decide you want to go to work for the government, you just killed your chances. You killed your chances of any security clearance over $1 pizza. It was ridiculous. And it's sad that, you see all of these different things. I've been reading about this kid, what is it, Carmela Anthony. You get these road rage incidents and somebody pulls out a gun and shoots somebody because they cut them off. I like to know what you think 2 years from now when you're sitting in a 5x8 cell. Was it really that important that somebody cut you off? So, these women, they went to jail over $1. I mean, it's asinine. But a lot of times what happens is when you have that mentality and you just can't turn it off and turn it on. And so, her big thing was it was $1 and she wanted her money back. And she didn't want to hear anything the police said. The police told her it was a civil matter. And, she could have taken the pizza and just left. What was $12?
CJ, what say you? Common sense that common?
No, I mean, people are getting stupider, just in general with AI and, just the lack of education and the wave of anti-intellectualism from our government and our current administration. But at the same time, like, I think videos and stories like that are massively overblown, especially on Elon Musk's website X, to try to, paint black people in a negative light. That is the agenda of Elon Musk. That's why he bought that platform. And ever since he bought that platform, as someone who uses it a lot before and after he bought it, those type of videos get circulated all the time, and those things get amplified. Anything that makes black people look in a negative light, all of a sudden those videos get pushed all throughout your algorithm, and they reinforce the narrative that Trump and Elon Musk say that, we're low IQ and the black people, have no impulse control and all that. And it just reinforces all those stereotypes. So I don't really buy into it because it's not the average black person. That's not the common experience in this country, but that's what they want the general white public to think of us.
Okay. Stan.
The bottom line is that I believe that we're in a time where common sense is blatantly uncommon. And we're also in a time where the level of courtesy, professionalism is just not there anymore. The I call it the antics of rudeness has become a common, it's more common to be rude now than to be kind. And there's plenty of publications that talk about when we reach that time where we're no longer kind to our fellow man, and we're no longer gentle to each other, and we're no longer forgiving to each other. There once was a time back in the 80s where you stepped on a person's shoe and you could lose your life. We've gone beyond that. And now we're at a place where, there's a page out there called Midwest something. And these websites and these videos are, attracting 10 to 20 million viewers. The reality is that when you watch some of these channels, they show other people that are doing some of the similar things. Some are as egregious as murder and things along the lines that we see that are sensationalized when it comes down to people of our culture. But when it comes down to them, it is not shown quite as clearly as when it involves us doing the crime. Someone mentioned the young man who, with the track situation. Unfortunately, this did happen, but I have a lot of questions when it comes down to that. The question is, what are you doing at a track meet with a weapon? Why were you at a opposing team's tent? I'm a dad of a track star, and that kind of stuff just never occurs. You don't go to the other tents. You definitely don't carry a weapon, especially at a sanctioned high school event. So,
Okay. Carlos.
African Americans in this country cannot be 13% of the population and 90% of the problem. It's what people want you to believe. Yes, people are very good at finding that one instance that happens that is totally ridiculous and posting it. But yet, the other majority that live in this country, when their videos are posted, is always something that relates to, seems like education, ownership, political aspirations, etc. So, in a more positive light. So, don't believe the hype. Yes, it happens, but it happens in all ethnicities, all backgrounds, and all communities. You got 90+% of the people trying to do the right thing, and you got one person or two people who do something that's so stupid, and then somebody captures it and posts it. Again, it's not just black people. It happens to everyone, and it happens more to white folks than it happens to black folks. But again, it's all about controlling social media and all other types of media to make people believe what you want them to believe. But yeah, we could do better overall as a country and as a world population, because people in other countries are making pretty stupid decisions too when you get down to some of the things that happen in other major cities across the world. So it's not just us. It's not a good look. Those two people, yes, they ruined their chances at probably a brighter future over $1, and that's just stupid. Go Knicks.
Okay. Or Carlos. That's okay. Look, all of us on this panel are over the age of 25. What is one lesson every man should learn before he turns 25? Stan, what do you think?
I would say from the financial world, the first lesson that a man should know is how to respect himself, how to respect his body, how to respect his parents, how to respect his money, how to respect his home, how to take care of those things that he is blessed with. And that's a fundamental thing, take care of what you're blessed with and bestowed with. I think that once men figure that part out, and we can go a little deeper, we can go into, financial budgeting and things along those lines. and being responsible and being on time. That was 20 things that I mentioned, but it boils down to that one thing. I think all of that circumvents the one general philosophy, and that is being respectful of yourself, to whom you belong to, and whose you belong to. As long as you do that one thing, and as long as we teach our young men that, I think everything else spins from that, because that is the center of the spoke of that wheel. Respect yourself, make sure that other people respect you. And in order to respect yourself, you have to take care of what God bless you with, including the body that God bless you with.
Man, Stan, I could just say good night, everybody. You
Right.
you laid it out there, brother.
Yeah.
Carlos, is it what you got?
Man, like an old entrepreneur once said, do unto others as you want them to do unto you. If you haven't learned that by the age of 25, man, there's no telling what you might go out and do. So just think about that for a moment and we'll see what happens.
Okay. CJ, what is one lesson every man should learn before he's 25?
Uh, I mean, Stan really hit a lot
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
nails on the head. It's not a lot to add there, but I would just say, just being able to discern people's kind of intentions. I think a lot of people get caught up with like a lot of fake friends and a lot of fake, I don't know, like things in that age range of like clout chasing and things of perception. They want to be perceived a certain way rather than having the substance of it. They want to look like they have the nice car. They want to look rich. They want to look like they have a certain amount of, women and things like that. So I would just say to, not be as focused on optics and just be more focused on substantive things.
Okay. CJ, listening to you reminded me of a story I saw, I think a couple of days ago, about a young man at the prom who was flashing a wad of money. He had like what looked to be, it may have been thousands of dollars at his prom. And he was flashing it, ended up being shot and killed, flashing that money. So, yeah, that's a good point, CJ. Thank you. Mr. Spivey, what is one lesson every man should learn before he turns 25?
Stan hit it on the head. You need to learn to respect yourself. And if you learn to respect yourself, you respect others. But one thing that I think young men should learn, and that's something that C just kind of brought up, be your own man. Don't be a follower. Be a leader. A lot of these young kids today, they want to be accepted. So they will follow people that are not good for them. And they end up getting themselves in trouble. So be your own man. Think for yourself. Don't let someone else think for you. And if you haven't learned that by 25, you got a lot to learn in the next 25 years afterwards.
I'm going to stick with you on this one, Mr. Spivey, and I'm going to ask another question. A lot of our young men don't have fathers in the home. Can a woman raise a young man or a boy to be a man?
Absolutely. It's going to take a strong woman, but there's been so many men who have been successful, black men and white men, but black men more or less I would know about from reading about. But yeah, a strong black woman can raise a child to be a man. You have a lot of the women who have raised these people to be athletes, women who have gone out and played basketball with their sons and that type of thing. So yeah, a strong black woman can raise a child to become a man, teach him the values that her father probably taught her that she can pass on to him. So yeah, I believe so.
Okay. What do you think, CJ?
I agree with Mr. Spivey. I think he hit the nail on the head. I mean, it's been done. It's been proven that it's possible because we've seen it in many, many instances.
Okay. Stan and Carlos?
Let's start with this. The African proverb says it takes a village to raise a child. So if that woman surrounds that young man, or at least young male, with some men that encourage him and put something in him that he's going to need, I think that that child will become a man. But she cannot, and I will double back and say she cannot do it alone. Uh, she can she can provide a household for him. She can feed him. She can make sure that he gets his studies done, and she can teach him how to take care of himself. However, there are certain characteristics of a man that must be mimicked by another man. He cannot read this in the book. I remember as a child, my grandfather took me and showed me how to walk. And he had to physically say, don't walk like that, walk like this. And if you have, if you're protecting yourself, this is how you carry certain items to make sure that you are protected. No woman in my family knew how to do that. And as a result of that lesson, I'm able to pass that lesson on to other young men. So, yes, I believe that a woman can provide a household, but given a man or given a young male the things and the tools that he needs, he definitely needs to be surrounded by other men, whether it be uncles, whether it be cousins, whether it be grandfather, whether it be other brothers from mentors, men from the church, business owners, people that can actually give him the comfort and that additional piece that we need in order to develop and grow.
Okay. Carlos.
Answer is yes, but I'm with Stan. Part of that job of being a mom, being a single mom, because I had a single mom when my father has issues, even though he was still alive, is doing all the things Stan just said, providing the house, providing the food, the clothes, all that good stuff. But my mom knew that, I also needed some men as mentors in my life, whether it be a teacher, whether it be a coach, whether it be somebody at the community center, whether it be somebody at church. She was smart enough to know those different things. I think it's sort of unrealistic to think that, you're not going to give those people, other people who enter that young man's life credit. But the answer is yes, the mom can definitely do it, but she has to be, I guess you could say, willing to have other people assist in certain capacities so the end result can be success.
Okay. We're going to wrap up early tonight, but here's the final part for us. It's going to be a two-part fill in the blank. Mr. Spivey, we're going with you. Setting the bar high. Okay, no pressure. We just setting the bar high. Here's the two-parter. A real man always blank, fill in the blank, and a real man never fill in the blank. A real man always blank, and a real man never.
Respect a woman.
Okay.
And never assault or abuse a woman. My father told me when I was growing up one time, he said, "You're my only child. I will do anything to protect you, and I will stand behind you no matter what you do. But if you ever put your hands on a woman, she has a father just like you do, and you're on your own." So that's how I would fill in the blank.
All right, now see, you done sparked another question. So you done made it bad for everybody. You like the kid in class who said, "Teacher, you forgot to give us homework." So here's the other part of the question.
Okay.
And you just answered it, but I'll give it to you again. The biggest lesson you learned from your father was blank. Was that it?
Wow. I learned so many from my father. The biggest lesson I learned from my father was he said, "Your word is your bond, and without your word, you have nothing."
Okay. All right. Carlos, a real man
Wow.
always.
Wow, that's deep. Hey, a
Yeah.
real man always
A
takes
real
care of
man
home.
never. Go ahead.
A real man always takes care of home. I can tell you that right now. Okay. Bottom line, you debate it how you want to debate it, but a real man will make sure his home is taken care of. You can define that as maybe making sure the mortgage or the rent is paid, maybe keeping the lights on, putting food on the table, making sure the people in that house have what they need. But a real man will make sure that gets done. No excuses at the end of the day. And a real man never hits a woman. Come on, man. If you want to pick a fight, go pick a fight with a dude in the park or something, who's causing trouble to others. Protect, don't abuse. And that leads me to what my father taught me. He said, he had his moments, and this is one of them. If you can't help somebody, do not hurt them. That's what I learned.
Whoa. Stan.
Was on the line, Carlos, of the Hippocratic Oath, man. Very good question. Very good question, Gary. I think a man always protects and always builds, And a man never, and I mean never, self-destroys, never personally destroys himself. And the greatest lesson I learned from my father is how to fish, and that is how to bring home a plate of food to eat. So that is the greatest lesson that I learned from my father, how to go out there and bring food home, one way or the other.
Okay. CJ, you got the final word.
I think all the answers were great. I think for me, I think the definition would be someone who, like I said, keeps their word. I think that was said, and like I said, I think it's a measure of someone how they treat people who can't do anything for them, like children, the elderly, animals, protecting, as you said, protecting, providing. And the best example of what to not do is our president. We have a great example of everything to not do in terms of be a man, in terms of not taking accountability, not, respecting women and things like that of that nature. So just do the opposite of everything Trump does, and you might be in good shape.
Okay. What's the biggest lesson you learned from your father?
It's many, many lessons. There's too many to
No pressure.
Yeah. Yeah, but I say I don't know if this is a totally unbiased question here from the media here.
Okay. Okay, you good. You good. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we got plenty of time. Before we close out, any predictions for tonight's game, CJ?
For tonight, I think Dolan has continued to ruin the vibes. As all the Knicks fans are burning sage and doing everything they possibly can to fix the vibes of that situation. But I think Dolan has doubled down on this team is for the rich and for the pedophile Epstein class, and he'd rather price out the real fans and attack the police commissioner and the mayor and all that. So I think the bad vibes will stay over the Knicks, unfortunately, as much as I want to see that fan base, succeed. I love my friends in New York. I spend a lot of time in New York. I love it up there. But yeah, the bad owners will tank your franchise. And we're seeing Dolan do everything he can to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory.
Okay. Stan?
All right, so I'm going to talk about will the Knicks win? I would say they may not win tonight, but I think they will win the series. And I firmly believe that Coach Brown has what it takes in order to bring this team home. I think he did a fantastic job, like I said earlier, in games 1 and 2. Something happened in game 3 that, as a fan, I really, really, really thought that he can get it turned around in the third quarter. But that push that New York has demonstrated over the playoffs, I didn't see it. I didn't see them what I call foot on net. So any athlete knows that when you got a team down, you keep them down. But in game 2, they let the Spurs come back. So I hope that they continue that streak and have that winning attitude and that desire to go ahead and destroy your opponent.
Okay.
So yeah, tonight I do think that the Spurs has a slight edge tonight. But I think overall, the Knicks will win.
Okay. Carlos, I don't think we know who you're pulling for. Who's going to win tonight?
Hey, look, another close game is going to come down to the final possession. The Knicks will win. Another, they'll keep your heart pumping until the last second.
Okay. Mr. Spivey?
I'm in agreement with Stan. I think the Knicks will win the series, but I think tonight San Antonio will win. And personally, I'm pulling for San Antonio. I would love to see Wembanyama second year get an NBA championship. I know people are going to say he's got many more years to play and many more years to get a championship, but I would love to see him get a championship. However, if San Antonio wins tonight, I do not think the Knicks can go back to San Antonio and win 2 games.
All right, folks. Well, you got time to get dressed, get hair and makeup, get your popcorn, peanuts, or whatever you're going to do. I'm Gary Johnson for the Thought Brothers. We'll see what happens tonight. We'll talk to you next week. We're out of here.
Shake it up tonight. He's not pleased. He's return is near. Families weeping under the dust. Homes built on pride and kingdoms built on lust. Children of promise, land in his hand. You can't keep pressing what you don't understand. Every wrong deed, every crooked plan leaves a mark in the earth, leaves a mark on man. He sees the land, he sees the line, he sees the crossing every single time. And when enough is enough, when the mercy grows thin, the shaking starts speaking. Shake it up, 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 get it right. Shake it up, tonight. He's not pleased, he's calling us here. That tremble in the ground means his return is near.